My name is Rebecca, this is MakingLARP, and today I'm going to talk to you all about the GEF 2015. So the GEF is all a bit of a weird event for me. I feel like it should be my favourite event because it's the one most focused around social stuff and games and things like that, and it's always one I get most excited for. But I never feel like I engage enough with it as much as I'd like to. I do really enjoy the event, but unfortunately, part of the reason this video has come out so much later, as the event was 2 weekends ago, I caught LARP plague. So I actually lost all of the Monday of the event, and I basically slept in until the final battle had already started. Not that I was planning on getting involved, but the fact that I didn't actually bother to kit up and go IC at all that day put damper on things, and then I was just ill, and it's taken until now for my voice to be anywhere near in a state that I can talk for an extended period of time for you guys on video. The weather for the event was pretty good, and other than the OC logistics of the fact that we were training it down, and so had to deal with suitcases and getting across the field with them and all that sort of faff, the actual OC side of the event was actually really good. There were a few little minor incidents which I'll talk about as we go through the days. All in all, it was a pretty decent event. So we got there a good few hours before time in, which meant we had loads of time to get our tent up, go to the traders, all that kind of stuff that's nice to do before the event starts. The GEF itself is generally the least combat oriented event of all four in the season. As I mentioned before, there is a bunch of games. In character, they are run by a Fae entity known as the Tesseract. This involves the game of Jugger, which is one of these things that LARP systems have just picked up. It's actually from a film. It's basically like a cross between Quidditch and football, but with weapons. So you've got set positions, and that determines who's allowed a mace and who's allowed a shield and how many of them you're allowed to have. And then you've got like a quick, like in Quidditch, who's the one allowed to kind of take the ball and run with it, and you're trying to get it over the other side of the pitch. So they have a tournament of that with representative teams of each of the factions and of, I'm not sure if it's individual guilds or the guilds as an entity take part in Jugger. There were also specialist kids games. The Archers Guild ran a duck shoot contest. So even if you don't have the skills in character to use crossbows, you can use one of theirs and have a go at that. The Bards Guild have a love letter writing contest. There was a singing contest. The Malicious Guild generally do a murder mystery. The Alchemists had this weird sort of potion game. It wasn't the Flabby's potion testing, which apparently did happen, but I missed it again. One of these times I'm going to drink something random just to see what happens. But they had a contest where there was like these fake potions with hieroglyphics next to them, a booklet that told you what the hieroglyphics meant, and a story of, and you would have to decide which potions were which and which you would use them for, and the best answers in the quickest time won, but I never did find out who won that. So now I'm giving you the overview. I will try and focus on telling you what happened. It's an interesting one for my character. I'm still really struggling with making those inroads and getting in there, and I don't know how much of that is me and how much is the character, but I did get to do quite a few interesting things. Friday was quite quiet, as obviously it's a shorter day. I managed to get myself down to the Alchemist Guild for a bit, and I got to see people and generally just kind of find out what's happening on the weekend and talk to a few people and hang out. Unfortunately, Mark and Lindsay, who play other members of the company and also have the company tent, and therefore bring that and the bar and all the cool things that gets all the cool people coming to our tent, weren't able to make it. It's one of those things, it happens, you know. As I said, it was a weekend of people not being well, so completely understandable, but it does put that different spin on the events because we don't have our own location to be sociable. So I spent way more time in the command tent than I normally would do, because normally I would kind of go down to the company tent instead. And yeah, I generally had a lot more kind of milling around. My friends who play characters from the Unicorns came over, and so we hung out with them in one of the other group tents that I don't tend to pop in, but it was also located right next to the command tent. So I think you had quite a few people kind of go there first before realising, no, you need to go to the one next door. Hid with the children when combat happened because nothing I can do. It's one of those things, I don't enjoy combat because I don't enjoy being hit. I understand that I'm a wuss that can't take pain, and it ruins the experience for everybody else to have me constantly flinching, being upset about it, and accusing people of not pulling their blows because I can't hack it. And because I can't hack it, I can't tell whether people are legitimately not pulling their blows or whether I'm being a wuss. And so I feel like I'm not enjoying this because I don't enjoy being hit. You're not going to enjoy it as a monster because I'm A, going to be running away and avoiding you and not engaging, and just being a nuisance to everybody else, or I'm going to be getting hit, possibly shouting you for not pulling your blows. It's why I don't combat monster either. That was it. That's what we did Friday night. That's why it felt so quiet. Friday, we had the second monster slot. Unicorns had the first literally at time in for the first 2 hours, and then we went down after that. And whilst all the rest of the faction were off fighting and stuff, I got paid to sew things. I was so happy. I kind of knew this was an option, but never really knew how to get into it. So I just went and did that, and that was awesome. One of the big effects of the weekend, once we got out of that, was Fae plot. All of the Fae plot. The location that we're in is in Viper's Land, but something Fae. And their big bad, or at least the one that was bothering that weekend, has a real issue with Fae. My basic understanding, I believe the bad guy's name was Dolorous, was something had happened. He'd had a big fight with the Queen of the Vipers, and when they took him down the last time, the Queen excommunicated him, killed him, whatever. He was an elemental, so he came back. Queen at the time was a Fae, and so he's like taken out on all the Fae. And so every Fae was encouraged to fizz rep bleeding eyes as part of their glamour. And so I had a bit of fun with that. I just used a pink eyeliner pencil because that's what I had. But some people really kind of had some cool effects of that. Did kind of mean that anyone, if you were Fae, it was really obvious because almost everyone put it into their glamour. So it was really cool to see, and a nice visual effect to see everyone having this happen to them, but it was also kind of a bit like, you're a Fae, you're a Fae, you're a Fae. Ooh, I didn't know you were a Fae. The King of the Fairies turned up, but that's Saturday. I can't remember anything else that happened Friday. I know I did spend way more time around the campfire than I normally do, staying up late and singing songs and keeping warm, but I'm not sure if I did that on Friday or not. It's all kind of blurred a bit to me at this point. Saturday, so there was the tea party, and there was the Aquas Guild meeting, which was awesome, and then there was the sheer terror as the King of the Fairies turned up half an hour early, and I could just see across the distance of the field, oh, yeah, that's the Fae meeting. This research is really interesting, but if I don't get my arse in gear and get over there, I'm going to be in real trouble. Yeah. Oberon. I was given warnings about Oberon. Apparently he likes to just kill people for offending him. Look, here's the King of the Fae. He's walked across from Arcadia, you know, the land of dreams, and he's coming to bitch you all out for not being Fae enough. And here, have some pride in being Fae and have some plot on a stick. Get on with it! Strangely enough, given the plot stick effects that has been happening a lot with like all of the ancestors turning up and saying, go deal with the Dracos Satoon problem, Oberon said, go deal with this Dracos Satoon problem. Here's a carrot. You may look at the carrot. I'll give it to this person that I trust. Stick! Apparently it was relatively nice. I caught the end of it. I snuck round the back of the meeting to catch up, and it was a real problem for me because I I wanted to get close enough to hear and not close enough you could see me and notice I hadn't been there earlier, because I could see from across the field the point where everyone knelt to him. And then once he got back up later, it's like, ooh. Yeah, because I was in the middle of a meeting about, how research worked. Trying to pay attention to both things, not good. So, getting there, watching someone ask to be made a fey prince and getting told off and struck down for not kneeling, I was like, do not draw attention to yourself in any way. So I have a vague idea of what's going on, and I've got more bits and pieces from talking to people after that. But that was intense. That was intense. And that was the big event of Saturday, and a lot of the rest of Saturday was people talking about it and, going, hey, this thing that you saw, don't tell anyone. The other little thing after that was I went and hung out with the Alchemist Guild some more, just to kind of get my face shown. And also I was putting my name on the list for getting taught how to make poisons, which is something I've been trying to get done pretty much since I started the character. But we also had come up with a recipe of a specific poison blade oil that could be used to do damage to the hunters, which is a plot line of things that have been basically coming and attacking the guilds and sliders and stuff like that. So they'd come up with a very specific poison for that and basically asked guild members to make the poisons. So I was like, well, if you give me the voucher and I can go train it, I'm more than happy to do this. And so they gave me the voucher and I was very happy. I missed a bunch of stuff. I wanted to go watch one of the Not rituals. I know it went really well, but I just missed it in timings. Yeah, I think that was it. The more campfire songs. And just generally having a chill out in the evening. Nothing majorly important happened plot-wise. I believe it was Saturday night after I'd gone to bed that one of my out-of-character, vaguely in-character friends got killed, and that's probably all I can say on the matter. It's one of those weird things where I know what happens out of character, but we've been kind of pointed out that if we tell people out of character, it becomes really difficult for people to investigate in character, because it basically becomes metagaming. So I'm not going to tell you what happened. Let's just say that it was interesting and not what I would have expected at all as a way to go, and the fact that I'm being told not to talk about it probably indicates it wasn't just a generic monster thing. So apparently Emma had been up since 4 AM when the person came through and was like, ah, having finally kind of come to bed after coming down from it all. And yeah, so it was a rough morning. I think we had a quiet start because it was ages before she was in a state to get up and have breakfast, and we just kind of hung out and talked about a new character concept, which she's really keen for. It might have been Sunday, we had a little company meeting. It was just myself, Emma, Matt and Sarah, their respective characters, and I got inducted kind of as officially as they could do without all the equipment and stuff into the company, which is nice, because also out of character it's mildly annoying that I'm supposed to have this year of roleplay and stuff before I get officially made a member of the group that I'm signed up as out of character group leader for. So that was kind of making me twitch a bit. So we're kind of going to get it resolved, I see, and we've done at least the first step, if not having it official. And we had a nice good chat and talked about company politics stuff and where we all wanted to go, and just checked with each other because we hadn't really had a huge chance to spend time together. Everyone is either running around being super busy or is like me and not really getting involved. Emma got herself a new job. She is assistant to the night defender, deputy or whatever. The regular blowout between Cade and Briar Rose over the Lions law, rule, whatever you want to call it. Everyone gets pattern scanned when they come through the gate. everyone. Even if we literally watched you walk from the gate out in the field a bit, no one's touched you and you walk back, you're probably still going to get pattern scanned, because it's just the rules. And it's Brian Rose's job to enforce those rules as Night Defender. She is in charge of the gate. That's her job. But if in and out of character, I see the arguments people make against us doing this. No other faction does it. It's something that only happens, I see, but because the mechanics of the way pattern scanning and checking for injuries and stuff works now has changed, and you now find out how many hits per location a person has, some people are concerned that this is something that people could use to get that information about you and kill you. That is a legitimate point that people are making. Does not change the fact that laws are what they are as they stand. And Cade was doing one, and he was throwing his toys on the pram, showing off in front of his watcher mates, and trying to make a big scene, trying to intimidate Briar Rose, and pulling a strop. Because, frankly, he's been a member of the Lions for, 8 years, something ridiculous. He knows who the council are. He knows who the people that have the King's ear are. He knows the King fairly well. He's friends with him. You want to make that argument, you put the petition in. Ranting and screaming to big up in front of your mates, and picking on one person and trying to shout them down. However much I completely respect that the guy that plays Cade is not a dick out of character, and was genuinely upset when it got to the point that it upset the person out of character to the point that she had to leave and stop the conversation. The character is a dick, and the argument that we can't just drop it because it's causing her upset out of character doesn't hold weight when there are many, many ways you could have this conversation or deal with this situation in character that don't involve you trying to shout her down and big yourself up in front of your mates, even though your character is a dick. It was grandstanding that was trying to bully your point across. There were legitimate ways to deal with that, and I get that. The character is a bully and an arsehole. You know, I get if you're playing that character and you don't feel like you should metagame even if it's in a positive way, I understand. I understand that point of reasoning, don't agree with it, but I understand. So that caused the major drama. But not only did it cause out-character drama because it upset someone at the point to walk away, this is a recurring issue. And the fact that people keep picking on the lady that's in charge of the gate over this issue because they don't like the law instead of dealing with and trying to argue it out with the Crowns, whose basic response was, you know, I see you have some valid points. Not changing the law. Not making an exception just for you. But instead of fighting him, trying to pick on her, this has happened more than once. And it's not just Cade that does this. It has to be fair, it's never just Cade that did this. He was just the most vocal of the arseholes. He stormed off, you know, his friends with him, which was probably for the best, out of character. But as he was storming off, picked a fight with somebody else who was saying, hey, you shouldn't have done that. They got the screaming argument. Yes, that was the big blow up on Sunday. Yeah, it was mostly a lot of sitting and talking with various people about the aftermath and discussions about, well, is the law there because it serves a purpose, or is it a law because Lions now do it culturally, and, you know, should we try to change it? You know, who should make that decision? Emma kind of got caught in the middle of this because I said she's the deputy, so she kind of stood up and did a lot of the actual organising of the job side of things whilst Briar was calming down. So it was Sunday was that, and it was also the people that went off and fought the hunters. So a bunch of paladins had challenged the hunters to turn up in the marketplace and have a big fight, and then basically the Scouts Guild and the Alchemist Guild with their shiny poison blades jumped in the transport circle where those guys had just come from to go and take out the queen and the nest of the alien creatures from whence they came. And we also had a few other bits and pieces. We bimbled on with the Lion's Bug plot and the French Blades, who I shall forever love. there's a group in the Alliance faction called the Free Blades, and they've had some regular NPC sort of scouts turn up who have terrible French accents, and apparently are members of the group from, you know, wherever they're from, and they're called the French Blades, basically. That's how everyone knows them as. Also, huge shout out to the members of Squad D, who are now members of the Unicorn faction, but still turn up and monster or bad guys and stuff when Rob needed them to. Just great. I managed to speak to someone about doing stuff from the Fae side of things about returning my memories, and it's basically going to involve doing a rite, and therefore the paperwork and organisation involved with getting a rite together logistically on the field. It's one of those things I'm going to put on the back burner for now, because it's something that's pure roleplay, and as much as I enjoy that, it feels a bit like I'd be wasting a bunch of people's time to do it, like out of character. And I think before I even think about going down that path, I do need to get together the Lions plot team and pin stuff down, because there's no point me doing the thing of returning my memories if there isn't any memories to return. I learned a little bit more about how Fae Awakenings work and what they do. So it's something that I wasn't particularly interested in as a character beforehand, but I might do that. And I would probably, if that happened, roleplay at least some of my memories returning. Very least, I need my name back. This is the bit. This is what I need to do. This is the bit that's frustrating me. My character card has my character's real name on it. I don't know what that says in character, and it's very frustrating because, say, want to make a potion. That character name is what is written on the sheet because it needs to go with my player ID and whatever else to say that I've made, you know, whatever number of potions I can make that weekend, which is generally one, but it'd be more later on, so that the office can check that I'm not abusing the system. So it's written down, people can see it and read it. I don't know what it says in character, and I can't tell people, and it's just really frustrating. That's all I want fixed. Everything else I'm happy to have in drips and drabs and snail paste, but I need to fix that. And I don't want to just pick out a new name, because that feels cheap. It just feels cheap to me. I could do it, I'm sure I could justify it, I see, but it just squicks me out. Because it's like, I'd be doing it for the wrong reasons. Like if there was some roleplay thing that happened, like I got invited into someone's family, I see, so I had then a surname, or, you know, something. Or, like if I took on a different name, is a memory of someone that I cared about dying, or something like that, and then going and changing my card at God to say that new name, fine. Squicking about and just picking randomly the name that happens to be already on my card, just to make me more comfortable with that character, it feels wrong. So I want to have some sort of plot effect. So my kind of options is talk with the Lions plot team and see if they're okay with generic mind healing, getting some of that back and trying to roleplay that out and getting that done. Having it happen as a result of awakening or some other similar effect. For example, if I was to have some sort of ritual done, even if it wasn't an awakening ritual, if it was something on me, you know, maybe there's effect of that. You know, there's ways and means I could go and do that right if I can get the right people together. To be honest, it involves bothering people that my character feels like outrank her as Faye, and so she doesn't want to like bother them, so she has to be like formally introduced and stuff like that. So that was the other big thing that happened on Sunday. There was the hunter stuff, and that was kind of Sunday morning was the hunters fight, and some weird curses and stuff went off there. I don't know the entirely effect, but I saw someone who the only way to get it so he was like covered by the ritual of peace and could be healed normally and stuff like that. He had to have 4 different rites performed on him as a way to cure him. So there was some intense stuff going on. But again, I kind of just felt like I was on the periphery for a lot of it. So I hung out with him and the people doing that for a bit when they were having a break. Obviously was there in the faction for the big blowout and stuff like that, but I was not particularly involved. Again, hung out, campfire. Monday was just gone. I got up and went no, and went back to bed, and then got up a bit later, and we all sat and ate eggs, and then it was 12 o'clock and the fight was happening, and I was like, I'm gonna scroll down, see what's happening. And then we all came back up to camp and had the final whisper of time out. So, final battle. I'm not sure what's going on. I know they killed Dolorous. I know there was some big stuff going on. The most important thing that I'm aware of in and out character, from our perspective, is, and I don't know the details, but someone released a shining one from the Tesseract. Think it was the bad guys. Think it was the monsters. Don't know the details. And again, I'm going from rumour in and out of character. I don't know either way. Don't particularly care in character, to be honest. But either just as a poof, boom, as it's turning up, or because Cade deliberately picked a fight with the Shining One, which a Shining One is a really, 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 really old Fae, like one of the first 3 generations that ever existed, given the world is supposed to be thousands of years old. So it's been around forever, it's really old and really powerful, and it just went poof, dead. Cade died. And the most interesting conversations that I'm having about that, because obviously I found out third hand, out of character, whilst I was sat with people that were at the traders having basically taken out non-com from the fight. So we were kind of watching the fight, and they were icy-ish, and I definitely wasn't. There were rumours going around that he'd been assassinated during the fight. That some people didn't know about Shining One thing, some people thought he'd been assassinated. My actual response was, well, I'm aware of at least one person wanting to assassinate him. That'd be a shame if he's just got kind of offed because of world plot, and it's squandered that roleplay opportunity for people to try and ship him up. So yeah, I don't know the details. I don't know what's going to happen with that, if anything. I know people I see are talking about going and getting revenge, but whether that's even possible, I don't know. I don't know the details on that one, and it'll be interesting to see if and what comes of that. I think certainly the Lions message board is going to be a lot happier place, filled with 90% less arseholes and way more constructive conversation. Obviously we had the kind of post-fight muster/wake for Cade. I think Caleb summed it up the best. Everyone was going, those that really liked him and were close with him in character were obviously very upset. A lot of people were just kind of standoffish and trying, we don't want to actively say shit, even though we might have been blatantly fighting with the guy yesterday. It was just a bit of a weird one. But yeah, I think Caleb said it best. He might be a douchebag, but he was our douchebag. He was still a lion. And that's an interesting stance, and I think it's probably the nicest thing anyone is ever going to say about Cade. Because while a lot of people are like, well, yeah, he was doing it for your own good and he was an arse about it, but he was mostly right. I don't know. I'm one of the people in the real world who can be an arse about things but is right. And I respect the fact that I am occasionally a dick and just need to be told to shut the fuck up. And I'm not sure Cade can deal with being told. Well, I'm not sure Cade could have dealt with being told to shut the fuck up, and have just dealt with it if he was, even though he was right that he was saying it wrong. It's a personality quirk that I know that I have, and so that I understand why it might be interesting to play as a character, whereas I try not to play it as a character because it's one of my own flaws. I try to come up with new and interesting flaws for my characters to have, like being completely morally dubious. That was interesting. It's like, I've wanted him dead for so long, especially as my last character, after all the trouble with the trial and him blatantly murdering a member of the factions and getting away with it. But it's kind of felt sad. I was like, oh, but I wanted someone to shiv you up. That was like, I don't know. I don't know what to feel about that. You know, it's like you wanted him dead, but, you know, different way. Could have happened differently. Could have been a little bit more satisfying. That was a weird one. And again, I suffered from the... Obviously, I was completely out of character, so I was just standing and watching. But I could see a few people dealing with the situation I had with Lanaya last event, where it was like, sorry, we're supposed to pretend that this is really upsetting and we care, and that we think this is a bad thing. Try not to actively make jokes. Try not to actively say anything bad. Yeah, that's really, really sad. Yes, that's a thing. Quite a few people's faces. You could tell that was kind of the way it was going, and that's always fun. So that was it for the GEF. That was all the big major stuff. Train ride home was... yeah, it was a train ride, you know. It's never going to be fun. There has been potential talk of a battle bus for the next event. If that happens, I will share the fun time stories of getting a bunch of LARPers in a minibus and all travelling down together. So that'll be the first weekend in August, and if I'm very, very lucky, the video will come up way earlier and I won't be full of disgusting throat crud that you don't need to see. Till next time. Bye.